What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here. So there's an intriguing rumor out there, and I think it's more likely true than not. It's nothing mind-blowing, but effectively, Woody Johnson and company would prefer to have an offensive-minded head coach, which in a vacuum makes a ton of sense. Over the last decade, we've gone mostly defense. When we have gone offense, it was the Adam Gase era, and so we've had anywhere from mixed results at best to tragic results at worst. So I can't knock him for wanting to flip sides and see what it looks like with another offensive-oriented mind. Also, keep in mind, we're pressing the reset on everything, right? Operation-wise, from front office to coaching staff, there's going to be fresh blood in here. Quarterback room, you're going to need a hard reset in terms of who's going to be your starter, who's going to be your quarterback of the future. You have some intriguing pieces in terms of let's just call them above average. We'll leave the superstar remarks out of it, right? But you have pieces that you can work with, right? You have your Garrett Wilsons, you have your AVTs. John Simpson looked like a free agent still. When you take a look at the development Joe Tippmann's made, Olu Fashanu. So you have a pretty solid foundation to work and build off of with the New York Jets offensively. Defensively, it's a whole nother beast. If you're walking in as a DC or any kind of defensive-minded specialist, you're having a field day with the talent that you have assembled over there. So the question effectively here, and let me know what you guys think in the comments, is that would it be ideal to take a lesser, maybe a more questionable prospect as an offensive head coach, right? And you take a look at who we may potentially have to pick from, at least that we kind of know we've had interest for, that we have interviews or will schedule interviews. OC Matt Nagy, OC Joe Brady, OC Bobby Slowick, quarterback coach Brian Grease, and then quarterback coach Josh McCown, right? 3 legit coordinators, 2 position coaches, and I would never recommend jumping that many levels ahead to get to head coach unless they just absolutely stun you with how perfect their plan is, the confidence in getting that executed, and kind of really laying out the 2-3 year plan of how that actually works, right? There'd be a ton more stuff I would need, but effectively you can limit it to 3 coordinators right now. And if you want to even dive further into that, Matt Nagy, again, is a name from the Chiefs that nobody is excited about. I think he did some impressive things with getting the Bears to the playoffs, getting them double-digit wins before things fell off, but still ruining a top-tier quarterback never really does you favors. And one of the interesting decisions that I think a lot of head coaches or even OCs that may have failed made is when they decide to jump ship and, let's say go back to their master or whatever, right? Whoever kind of leads their coaching tree, your Mike Shanahan's, your LaFleur's, your Andy Reid's, right? One of the issues with that is that in a lot of those established places, those top guys are the ones that are calling plays. And so obviously, from a functional standpoint, a job position standpoint, the coordinator is still extremely important. But as you can see with cases like Nathaniel Hackett, for example, as you can see with cases like Eric Bieniemy, for example, the totality of what it takes to be a head coach may not transition. And the fact that you don't even have the play calling in your bag of cards is also a huge problem. Joe Brady, Bobby Slowick, definitely interesting. At the very least, it wouldn't be something I would be depressed about if we found out that we hired one of those 2, right? I think they both have accolades. They both have some things that if you look at just from a 30,000-foot view, you could get excited about, right? Take a look at how the Buffalo Bills offense has evolved with him since leading Josh Allen and company, getting that run game back on track, probably extending Josh Allen's career by a significant amount by not making him the totality of the entire Bills offense. And then with the Texans, obviously part of that turnaround for them is huge and a major boost for Bobby Slowick himself, but also still question marks with how he's managed quite a few games in certain cases. And I don't know. I still, and the part that I'm kind of going back and forth on, because I want to try to be objective with this conversation, is that if you look at Aaron Glenn, I think he's one of the best coordinators on his side of the ball. I don't know if you would make that same statement about a Joe Brady or a Bobby Sloak, right? And we don't have the luxury of saying, all right, well, we'll bring in Tom Monken, we'll bring in Cliff, we'll bring in Ben, because these are guys that are already mentioned that they're not interested, and so there's no need to pursue them. So you're talking about taking potentially the top one or two defensive coordinators during this hiring cycle versus taking, or, defensive head coach if we end up going that way. But one of the top defensive minds on that side of the ball versus maybe one of the best, the top, Joe Brady, Bobby Sloak, let's just say they're ranked somewhere between 5 and 8, right? So that's a significant jump. There's nothing saying that they won't be able to build just as qualified of a staff as what Aaron Glenn could say, perhaps. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that sentiment, just because I think Glenn is a little bit more connected. But it's kind of the same example here, right? If they can build a functional staff for themselves to really help support themselves in a way that you didn't see with Robert Saleh, because that's a lot of the feedback that I get is said person is Robert Saleh 2.0 if it's a defensive guy. And really one of the huge downfalls for Robert Saleh was the fact that he went so youthful, right? Tons of rookies everywhere on his coaching staff, and he really only had one foundational piece in there, which ended up being Greg Knapp, which, rest in power to him. But I don't think mainly any other head coach, especially a first-timer, would make that kind of same mistake. And even for Robert Saleh, that's a learning experience. So if he gets the Jaguars job or the Raiders job, right, I would expect that you see even better results than what we've seen with the Jets. But that's kind of where I'm at in this whole conversation. I don't know how excited I would be about hearing a Joe Brady hire, hearing a Bobby Sloak hire per se, if we are still in a running for somebody like an Aaron Glenn or even Spagnuolo or a Vance Joseph, for example, at least where critically thinking it makes a little bit more sense, right? Previous head coach experience checks off a few other boxes that we're looking for. In some cases, guys have championship rings behind them and, all other manner of things that they can kind of rely on to get them over the hump. But let me know what you guys think. If we do end up preferring to go offensive-wise, is there somebody that we haven't interviewed or is scheduled or already interviewed that you guys would look at and say this is a reasonable hire? And, the example I'm putting out here again is that whoever defensively is your top guy, just compare that to whoever offensively you would imagine is acceptable. So I don't know. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are. I'll catch you again. Peace.